Because this will come out the week of exams.
Yep. All right, ready?
Rod, are you
Check.
ready?
Check.
I was born ready. I was born ready.
You gotta use your podcast voice.
I was hoping I could for once a
Look,
year.
if my voice can go over the podcast,
The main thing
radio,
is just speak loudly. Don't.
pretty soon.
If you get quiet, it doesn't sound so good.
I'm gonna have to talk like this.
Okay.
pretty soon.
Super loud. Here we
No,
go.
Not super loud. You talk.
I can
like
also
this.
turn up your volume a little bit, but it's fine. Okay.
Okay,
Here we go.
great.
Welcome, everyone, to the Lansing Catholic Podcast. This is our final episode of this
Season
school year.
finale.
And so we have a very special guest today, our president,
I thought we had
Mr.
Dominic on.
Dominic.
Oh,
Oh, already throwing out the insults. Mr. Iocco is with us. Thanks for joining us, Dominic.
It's so good to be here to listen to Stolpa's comments in
Well,
person. It's fantastic.
now people don't know it's me because Father didn't do our proper intro. So, Father, please introduce yourself.
Everybody
We
knows
don't
your
have to
voice.
do that every single time.
Oh, and I'm Mr. Stolpa, the Dean of Intellectual Formation.
So we're going to start with a few updates about this week. It is finals week, so students, be sure to show up to your exams, study well, don't fail any tests.
Monday is 1st, 2nd, and 4th. We have 3 finals on Monday this year. Tuesday is 5th and 6th, and Wednesday, the last day of finals, is 7th and 8th.
We have Mass on Monday at 7:15. We also have Mass on Tuesday at 7:15, so you can come and say some prayers for your exams before taking them.
Well, not for the exams, for the taking of the exam. You can't really pray for a piece of paper, Father.
And then on Tuesday, we have adoration from 8 to 9 because exams begin a little later that day, so feel free to pop in for some more prayer time. And then also Tuesday, we have our live retreat. So that is for all of our current students as well as incoming freshmen. I can put a link in the show notes. It won't be too late to sign up, even when this podcast drops.
What time does that start, Father?
That begins at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, 11 a.m. on Tuesday, June 4th, and goes until 3 p.m. It'll be a good
Is it
time.
here?
Here at school.
You got it.
And is that it? Anything else we should talk about?
No, I don't think so. It'll be summer. You guys have a safe summer. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And just enjoy. Study, read, do your summer reading.
So for our podcast today, we brought on Mr. Iocco because at the Father Mac dinner recently, he gave sort of a State of the Union address. So a State of the School address. We thought that'd be good content for everybody to hear. So Dominic, what do you want to tell us about this school year and the state of things?
You know, the best part about giving that speech at Father Mac is it gives you a chance to reflect on the year. You spend so much time of the year just focused on the day-to-day and kind of what's next because at a high school, I mean, there is always something happening. Morning, night, doesn't matter. And so being able to reflect on kind of what actually transpired this year is pretty cool. And we've had a lot of great success, you know, as I talked at Father Mac, you know, we've got kids going to all kinds of universities all over the country. Probably the best part about that is always the personal stories. It's the best part about each of those. And so Father come in and just was in awe that his kid was accepted to every school she applied to, and then shared a story that his older daughter had went to, you know, other schools, had done things nearly perfectly and couldn't get into her top school. So, you know, he was really appreciative and thankful for the fact of our academics and our reputation to make that happen. So it's those types of stories that are pretty profound. Obviously, you know, athletics every year is an area that we've shined in. You know, every year since I've been here, we've had at least one state championship. And I explained, you know, to my own children, it's like, you know, state championships aren't like normal, but here they've almost become normal and kids get kind of used to them. So to have a golf state championship this year after the last 2 years where they were painfully close, you know, really was a testimony to that team and to their perseverance through fighting through those to finally win. We had like 4 regional champions, 7 league champions, 50 all-conference athletes, like individual athletes. 4 of them were all-state athletes. And then we had 12 commit to college athletics, which is pretty huge for a class of 94 students to have 12 going to college to play.
Well, and I think on the state championship front, too, I think I've been teaching since 2008. And until I got to Lansing Catholic, I've been a part of one state champion in all those schools throughout the country. And to have, I think it's 5 since I've been here, is a remarkable thing. And I know it's something we take for granted, like you said, but it's a tremendous boon or tremendous shout out to all of our athletes to do this and our coaches as well. and everybody involved.
Yeah, we had 3 coaches that earned Regional Coach of the Year awards as well. And, yeah, it's really a testimony to the whole community that happened. Because, yeah, in high school, I don't think we had anything that went to states. Clearly, that wasn't my fault. I was pretty good at sports, but it just wasn't enough to carry us there. We made the Diamond Classic one year, and that was just
Did everyone go to that?
huge. Like, yeah, that was just, a huge accomplishment. So, yeah, to be at a school where we are regularly winning state championships is exciting and a great testimony to the community.
And also, it feels like it's all been something different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't think we've had any repeat champions. It's been
No.
track, it's been girls basketball, it's been golf,
Bowling.
it's been football and bowling. So 5 state championships in 5 different sports is pretty impressive. And well-rounded kids we have.
Yeah. No, it's been great.
There's been a lot of sign of spiritual growth as well. You mentioned that in the speech. We had 6 students go through RCIA and join the church, and 3 adults on staff also became Catholic, so that was really encouraging to see. It was cool that you mentioned Alianse in particular, because she had such an unusual journey that brought her here to the school and then eventually into the Catholic Church.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to the testimony that's on this channel, you really need to listen to it, because her story is just profound. I mean, we really can't appreciate what she's went through. I mean, can you imagine being like a sophomore kid in high school and walking into a high school that, costs a ton of money to attend and saying, how do I come here knowing full well that I've got to pay for it myself? Like,
Right.
her story is truly remarkable. So if you haven't listened to that one, I'll give the podcast another shout out.
That was 2 in the last minute.
Go listen to that for sure. But yeah, it's those personal stories that make it really come to life in many ways. And I thought it was awesome how many people joined the church, and it wasn't until Doug Moore told me, he's like, no, that's the most that have ever joined the church, that I was like, really? Like, wow, that is a powerful witness of what's happening. But again, it's the personal stories. 2 of our seniors were talking to me the last couple of weeks, and one of them shared that she came here from a Catholic school. Faith wasn't really part of her family at all. It was just, they were picking a good school to go to. She came here, didn't expect Lansing Catholic to have any impact on her faith, and now leaving, faith is really important to her, that she goes to Mass every Sunday, even if she has to go by herself or with a group of friends. So to hear those types of stories is phenomenal, and that's where you see the real growth, and that's what's really fun about looking back at the year and seeing those stories of kids that have really been impacted.
Well, I know we talk a lot at our admin meetings about what we're accomplishing, what we're seeing, and how we're measuring it. And a lot of it's very difficult to do because we might not see what is going to really take hold and take effect for 5 to 7 years. So to have these tangible people right in front of us that we can see the effects of daily Mass and confession and adoration and all the conversations in the classrooms that lead them to this discovery of their faith and their spiritual journey is really remarkable, I would say, from a personal level. Yeah,
it's remarkable, and I think it's the piece that gets missed sometimes. I mean, some people will say that we're too Catholic, or we have too much prayer and these types of things. And I think what's missed in that is the fact of all of the things that we love about the school, the academics and the stories you hear about how much more our students are pushed, and then how when the students come back, how college is almost easy at this point because of what we expected here. I mean, it all comes from that spiritual focus, and I feel like sometimes it's seen as like this extra thing, this side thing, but really it's the core of our mission, and it's because we do those things that all of the other things happen. One of the awards we gave out was to Tony Poljan at Father Mac for the Mission Award for Excellence, and he talked about how even in sports, I mean, here's a guy that played 1.5 years in the NFL, talking about how faith was so important to push to that next level when you didn't have quite enough, that faith and that hope. And that's, I think, what often gets missed in the conversation about our faith and how it's integrated into everything we do. It really drives everything else. It drives the whole atmosphere of the school that really is what dictates how much, kids learn and all that sort of stuff. So
there's that great quote from St. Irenaeus who says, the glory of God is man fully alive. And I think
Yeah.
that's sort of what you're talking about here, that part of our faith is to elevate the entire human experience on all levels. And it brings glory to God and brings excellence to any institution where it's really taken a hold of the culture there.
And I will say, too, we're pointing out the kids with the outward examples of what we're seeing. We're pointing out the ones who convert. We're pointing out the ones who stand up for their faith. But we have 400 kids, and we don't fully know all these things are affecting kids in some way. And so it's remarkable that there are 400 kids and all experiencing this journey in a different way. And some of them, it's going to be a very personal thing, and some of them, it's going to be a very outward thing. And I think we just have to keep going on our mission and knowing that we're doing the right thing, doing something.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I said at Father Mac. The real testimony of Lansing Catholic is its alumni, right? And what are they accomplishing? What are they seeing? You know, our mark of success is somebody 7-10 years out of high school, and what impact did we have? Because let's be honest, I mean, when you're done with high school, you're kind of ready to be out of high school.
Yes, sir.
It's not until years later that you realize the full impact of what happened in those years, and I think that that's the real testimony. That's why, you know, the celebrations of people like Tony and things like that are really important to remind people, and to see people like Abigail Gilmore that won the Service Award, and how service has really become part of who she is, all because of a mission trip here, you know, is really the exciting part of seeing that difference. And, you know, it was one of the other cool stories I shared at Father Mac. One of the students won an award at Baccalaureate Mass. I had no idea, but her older sisters had went to a different school, and she had come here, and she had come here so that she could play basketball. And now her faith is an integral part of her life, and they're hoping that as she moves close to her older sister, she'll actually be able to bring her back to the faith. And, you know, it's just seeing that kind of witness that's pretty profound. And the fact that she, you know, has a scholarship in a different sport now to go to a Division I school is all the more impressive. So it's all those things together that are what's exciting about seeing what's happened this year and what we continue to build.
You also mentioned an interesting stat about teacher turnover, and it was encouraging to see what our rank there was compared to other schools. So maybe talk about that. What was that?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, one of the things, you know, in a leadership position, and one of the things I wish I got to do was spend more time with the kids, but really your biggest goal is to support the people that are delivering the day-to-day for our students, right? And so if we don't have happy teachers, our students are going to be miserable, and they're not going to learn anything, because an unhappy teacher is not going to be an effective teacher. And so really we've spent a lot of time these last couple of years of improving our overall culture, and it's really paid off. So we did a survey to kind of gauge ourselves against some national benchmarks and teacher satisfaction, and they rated us significantly higher than the national average for morale and satisfaction in their work. And you see that because this year we're losing only 2 full-time teachers, and the national average is 23%. So we're losing basically 5% of our teachers this year, and both of them are for cases that it's really hard to compete with. One's entering the religious life, so, you know, not much we can do there. And the other one...
You can't really talk her out of it. Well, listen, you really want to do this? You want to stay here and teach math?
I feel like I'd have to go to confession or something. If
I got just the podcast confessions. That might become a thing. No. Oh, okay.
And the other, you know, we knew when she came here it was temporary. Her husband was working on his PhD at MSU. They're from Wisconsin. Went to some school in
I heard
Wisconsin.
it's one of the best schools in the country. It's in Milwaukee. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Marquette.
I hear they're terrible at basketball, at least compared to Michigan State most years. But no, really,
academically,
you know,
though,
when she called me to say that she was leaving, she explained how hard of a decision it was, even though like they were going to move back to their hometown where all their family is, and her husband had just got his dream job. They never expected that to be a hard decision. That was the plan. That's what they were hoping for. But she had grown so much here and had loved being here so much that they actually had to discern, do we move back? And so that to me was a powerful testimony of yeah, she's leaving, but we're not going to win that argument. And so to only have two full-time teachers leaving, is just a great testimony, and it provides such stability for the education that we're providing.
It's always it's been the last few years that since I've been here, and I think we have had very, very few teachers leave on a lateral move. We've had the ones who move out of town. A couple have become principals, and so but teacher turnover has been very, very good for us. And I would also say this is the first year that we're not hiring a dean of social formation or an athletic director or anything like that. So it's been a relatively quiet hiring season this year.
There could be a position for dean of intellectual formation. We've been waiting for a big screw up on the podcast.
So are you telling me I'm being promoted? Is that what's going? Is this the big promotion that I've been waiting for?
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm going to have to hire a dean of intellectual formation that gets facts straight
on the podcast.
Well, I heard I could be the dean of podcast formation. And I'll just sit in the back and narrate what goes on.
It's one of the fastest growing industries. Might be a whole new discipline to launch here next year.
So Dominic, you have 3 kids that will be here next year. What are your, is there anything about like this upcoming year that you're excited about in a particular way, or any hopes you have for next year?
I'm excited. It'll be the last time I have 3 kids here. So it happened one other time, and this will be the only other time I have 3 kids in the school at the same time. It works out fine as long as you have an older student that can drive them around, so it won't be as bad as the first time probably. But logistically, it does become challenging. But I'm excited about especially we're launching an entrepreneurship class that we've been trying to figure out for the last couple of years of how to get a business program sort of approach going. And so we came across this approach that I love as an entrepreneur myself, of actually launching a business as part of the class. Now, most of them probably won't be the next Facebook or anything like that. But I always have told people that are interested in business, if I can get you to the point of at least trying to sell something, you've learned more than most people ever do. People have business ideas. They love to create a website, but to actually go and try to convince somebody to give you money for what it is you're offering, like that's a huge learning opportunity that I'm really excited to see play out.
So in the last 2 years, we've started the industrial arts. We started entrepreneurship. Is this kind of the direction you see Lansing Catholic going as a school, or are these just trying to enrich the whole person of our students?
So I think it's a little bit of both, right? We had like 114 students sign up for one of the industrial arts classes. Now, most of those students are never going to pursue anything in the trades for a career. But the fact that a large number of them now know how to do a woodworking project is pretty fantastic. Like, doesn't matter what career you're going to, whether you end up using woodworking as a hobby or to just fix stuff around your house, it's a great practical skill to have. It's also a different way to engage the mind with, a manual art that develops the mind. And there's a lot of evidence that, doing that in the school day combined with more just thinking and in your mind activities is a great way to learn more in general. So it is about enriching the whole experience, exposing more students to different opportunities, and exposing them to ideas of how they may find a career path in the future that they might not have thought about, and maybe they find something that they really love doing that they would have had no idea. So it's kind of exposing those opportunities and providing enrichment to a variety of students.
In terms of big things coming, do we have any plans on any, outdoor areas that you could give an update on?
So yes, the last 2 Corks and Cuisines, we've been raising money for what was originally called the outdoor classroom. It's been renamed Cougar Commons because
we love alliterations.
We do love alliteration around here, and it does work pretty well. So thanks to the success of those 2. Now, this whole idea was generated when we asked teachers, like, what would be something that would really transform your your teaching and your ability to engage students. And one of the teachers came up with this idea, and it was coming out of COVID, so had been some experimentation of like taking kids outside and doing some of those types of things. And so it came out of this idea of, could we create an outdoor classroom space that would be easy for teachers to go and use, rather than like something they had to like plan for weeks to make happen. And so in work with some of our parents actually that do this kind of work, we've come up with a whole cool area just outside of the cafeteria that we'll start this summer, and we'll like transform that whole area outside the cafeteria to make it into an outdoor classroom and just a super cool hangout space as well. So it'll be great for our students on an everyday basis as we kind of claim some of that area and make it useful and effective for both this classroom and for hanging out, socializing.
And this is all the generosity of donors, sponsors.
All through our donors, yeah. I mean, we've really transformed different aspects through the Corks and Cuisine fundraiser that is really great. I mean, even just in my time when I arrived, they were redoing the library. We've done the cafeteria now. Now we're going to have an outdoor classroom. Like, it's been a huge blessing to our community.
So I got a text, I think, from Karen, or an email or something, Gavin, and it was a picture of the auditorium in 2015.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever seen this picture,
No.
Father, but it looks like it's part of an institution. Like, I'm not talking like a reputable one either. We're talking about like a solid, and it's just, it was green and all faded, and so what is there now is remarkable what we've done. So I'm very excited about this outdoor classroom. It's just a chance to hang out there in a calm place.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I mean, it'll be great for things like Rozhinka. It'll be great for just engaging students in a different way. So it'll be an exciting space that I think the students will love.
I like that 9 Square is part of the plan for that space.
9 Square has been super popular. I mean, and that is a testimony to like give students some opportunities to do some things like that. Like, who would have thought when we built that 9 Square that we'd have kids out there on any day that is nice weather playing, and it's fantastic.
I thought you invented that game, Father, when you first came up with it. I was really impressed. I'm still impressed.
Didn't invent it, but I did make the frame for it. Mr. Iocco helped. We got to sign our names on it. That might be the one thing I'm remembered for, is the 9 Square frame.
There you go.
Are we keeping that frame, or are we doing like a professional looking one?
Oh, we might have to redo it
Wow,
eventually.
professional. Okay.
You mean less heavy duty? That one is never going to fall apart.
It's
That one is
industrial
solid.
strength.
It's actually true. And when
The seniors do their pull-ups on there.
I say
Exactly.
I saw them out the other day, and one of them was your child, Dominic, and it was just they all hang on it, and they hang on it and swat the ball. I swear there have to be rules to this game. I don't think there are.
There were rules.
Yeah.
We played it at a staff retreat one time. Maybe we should do that again.
Yeah, we should teach you 9 Square.
The end of finals week.
The
we'll have
kids
a
are trying to
staff.
teach me, but none of it makes sense.
It's too complicated for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can hit the ball 3 times.
We got to round out your education a little bit more.
Fair enough.
All right, everybody. That is it from us today. Have a great
And
summer.
for the season, Father.
We'll
This is
probably
it.
do a couple little episodes
Pop-up?
in the summer. We'll see what we'll do.
Are you going to
but,
do them from the sailboat? Is that the plan?
There's some technological challenges to that. There's no power on the boat. We'd have to bring a battery, and it's like AC current versus DC current, and we need to get a producer to figure all that stuff out.
I don't think a producer can figure that stuff out. Father.
Maybe an
I think-
engineer then.
There you go.
Maybe a sponsor if you want to help us find a non-electronic podcast or something like that.
Or at least a battery powered.
battery, just a big generator.
Or just somebody that wants to pay to continue listening to you guys talk all the time.
Well, just or to pay us not to talk. One of them.
Have a great summer, everybody, and keep it real. Go Cougars.
Keep it cool. Go Cougars. Is that the new one?
I mean, it's a good way to end up the season, isn't it?
Go Cougars.
Have a great summer, everybody. Go Cougars.